Okay, before we get started in this video, I just want everybody to know that this took a very long time to edit and also to film. It's not completely done yet, but I will say that I am separating everything into multiple sections, only to make it easier to digest. So if there's abrupt ends in certain areas, don't be alarmed, there's another video, so you'll just have to like switch up to other sections. So there's probably gonna be like 4 or 5 sections here. So if the video just abruptly ends, just look for the next section. You'll be good to go. This is the main course. This is what everybody has wanted for a long time. And I'm paying up, keeping my promise. In the wiring harness for Rice Box here. And we're going to do the full how to build your wiring harness with your... with me. So if you guys haven't watched the first part of this video, make sure you go watch this. If you don't know how all this stuff works, if you don't know what any of this stuff means, make sure you go to watch this first. This is important before you start to do this. If you already know this stuff, just skip it, and we'll go straight to this. So first things first, you got your ECU that you want, and you got your wiring harness. Now, for the sake of this video and for the sake of my mental health, I order flying leads. So these flying lead harnesses come with pre-lengthened wiring. The wiring itself has names on it, so they are actually stamped. They tell you where each thing pins to, and they already got pins on them. So for my own sake, I don't have to pin all of these things directly to wiring. Otherwise I would. I have plenty of wiring, I've got plenty of rolls that I can build an entire harness with, but for my own sake, I spent 250 bucks, got myself a full wiring kit from ECU Master to assist with this, but this is as far as it goes. I got to cut it to length, I have to sleeve it, I have to shrink wrap it, I have to pin the actual wiring into the connectors, and we have to tuck it, make it look all pretty and everything. This is as far as this goes. This is just for a user function. Makes it for an easier life, makes it just makes things better. Whatever ECU that you guys are using, if you guys don't want to buy a crap ton of wiring and then pin everything, check your ECU company, see if they've got a flying lead harness like this. ECU Master offers these for their EMU Classic, Black, and their Pro Series ECUs. So they're very, very useful, and they're very nice to have. Now, if you're going this route, make sure you stay in for this if you want to watch this. Otherwise, skip forward if you have your own wiring and you're trying to build your own harness or whatever. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to undo all these, and then you're going to separate the wiring that you're not going to use. Alright, so first things first is you're just going to make sure you have everything written out that you are planning on using for each of your actual pins. So whatever you're trying to use for your sensors, whatever's related to it, make sure you got it all written out, make sure you have it planned ahead. I've done this a million times, so I know what I'm going to be using and what I'm going to be pinning. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going through each of these, and I'm going to pin them to the actual harness. So I'm going to pin these to the ECU one at a time, and then separate the ones that I'm not going to use. Okay, so really what you want to do is you just want to pin everything into your connectors that you're going to be using, or what you're planning on using later on. So what I mean by that is if you're going to use an EGT, make sure you separate your EGT wire and you pin it to that pin. EGT is going to go to EGT. If it's an ignition coil, it's going to go to ignition coil pin. Make sure it's the coil that you want it to be. If it's ignition coil 5, it'll go to ignition coil 5. It's important. Make sure everything is exactly pinned. It's not rocket science. If it is what it is, it goes to what it says. It goes to what it says it is. It's not. There's no trick questions here.
Alright, before we go way too deep into this, something I forgot to mention here. These shielded wires, these two white thicker wires that have the two little wires coming out of them, there is a sensor ground on each one, as well as the actual sensor wire that goes to each cam and crank sensor. These are also used for knock sensors. But on the inside of the white shielding, you will have this metal shielding that is basically just bare wire. That is actually supposed to go to a common ground, and that completely removes the noise, period, from this section of wiring. So you won't see me do anything with this right now, and I just completely forgot to mention it. But that is actually supposed to be twisted together and then just common grounded. So you just ground it to the chassis or wherever you want to do, but it's just supposed to pull any kind of voltage out of the system. Hopefully that wraps that up.
These are insulated shielded wiring, and they're very specific. They're used for the triggers and then also knock sensors. So on these, I like to use these so it reduces the amount of noise that happens through the harness as it's transferred to the ECU. The ECU will be giving its own ground signal to the sensors. So unfortunately, it's going to look a little bit weird, but I'm going to join these two together, and then I'm going to mate it to the sensor ground wire. And it's going to look a little bit odd having a few things going to it, but as long as you're using your heat shrink and stuff and proper crimps, it's going to work just fine. Okay, so essentially every time you can join it to the sensor ground, what you're going to do is you're going to snip the sensor ground, and if you have these little pins, they're really nice. They're shieldless crimps, so they crimp really nicely, and then you can put heat shrink over the top of them just like this. So essentially every time you do this, you're gonna snip off the sensor wire, you're going to put them together, crimp it, and then put the sensor wire back in there. Then you're gonna run your heat shrink over the top of it and shrink it down. Now if this starts to look a little bit weird, like I was saying earlier, if you look into the factory wiring harness of a JZ or an Evo or just anything, and you pull apart some of the 12-volt systems, you will see the biggest mess of wiring that you have ever seen, and it makes me feel like, dang, I am a better wiring guy than Mitsubishi or Toyota. So anyways, back to this. What we're going to do is we're going to heat shrink this, and then probably somewhere up here we're going to snip it again and just kind of space them out so that way it's not so bad. Alright. Okay, so that you guys will notice that I haven't installed basically half of the wiring yet. This is going to be all the stuff that's going to go straight to the engine. The rest of the stuff I can install inside of the car. Now, whenever I get the wiring harness all situated, I'll figure out my ignition coils, which will be the other ends if you guys watched part 1 of the electrical. Once this harness is completed, I will run the wiring that's supposed to be inside the car, as well as the rest of the ignition coil wiring, because those will be on a separate loom. So the stuff on the inside of the car will have its own little loom, so that way it will ground out, and then also all of my auxiliaries for my relays and stuff, because like we talked about, I have my fuse box here, which will have for my fans and my fuel pump and stuff. So all of this stuff will be going to the auxiliaries, so that way the auxiliaries will trigger components of my engine that I would like them to trigger. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to set this up to where I can figure out where I would want it inside the car, and then we will be running the wiring out, and and seeing just how long everything's going to be. The farthest thing that I will have will be my crank sensor, and I have my crank sensor mounted in a way that it is underneath the car and not over where the alternator is, because obviously my manifold is not in a good spot for the connectors to be next to it. So everything is set up in a way that there is nothing on the hot side of the car. So next, let's go over to the car, and we'll check her out. Okay, so as you guys can see, my manifold here is too close to anything. If there was any connectors and stuff over here, it wouldn't work very well. So everything is on the other side. My crank sensor is actually mounted right down there, facing this direction on the right side of the harmonic balancer. So my wiring will come out of my firewall over there. You can see right back there where my O2 sensor is going through the firewall. That is right where my harness will come out. It will cross right over behind the cylinder head. It'll plug into everything underneath there, and then the farthest thing out will be my crank sensor, which is down there, or potentially my IAT sensor, which I will be putting in my intercooler pipe here. Giving myself quite a bit of room. So my ECU is all the way inside the car, and we've got all of this wiring. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to puck it over the engine. This is what the top of the harness is going to look like. Obviously, it's nowhere near done, but this is the length. You can see we have plenty. One of these will be the crank sensor, and then one will be the cam sensor. This is going to be more than long enough to go down there underneath the intake. Obviously, you're going to gain a whole bunch of length whenever you actually tuck it the way that you want to. On the inside of the car, I have my ECU pulled way out just to give me some room to work with. So my ECU is pulled way out to have a lot of harness to work with, because I want the ECU to actually be up there with my actual fuse box for the car. So back to the front. So this is where it starts to get tedious, guys. So once you get the base of the harness connected to the ECU, you get your ECU set inside the cab where you want it to be, or wherever you're trying to put it, and basically you're going to have a whole section of the harness that is going to be sleeved, so there's not going to be anything flying off of it. The real issue starts from when you get behind. So like on my application, I don't have anything on that side of the engine where I'm going to be having stuff come off of, but where you will start your process of the flying lead is going to be where the actual brake begins for the whole rest of the engine. So we'll do an example here. Okay, so on the back side of my engine, on the head, right there behind the head is where my union is going to be. Where I do that, it's going to be a piece of heat shrink, and then on the right side, it's going to be all of the leads to all the sensors. So it's going to be one solid on the back, and then right after the heat shrink, it's going to be a flying lead. There's not going to be any like Y's off of connectors down here. It's going to be just from the back. Injector is going to come from the back of there to the injectors, and then from the back of there to the crank, from the back of there to the cam sensor, and then to the IAT. So there's going to be, it's just going to be solid, and then it's going to explode off to everything. Now, let's say if you had something back here that was going to be in your harness, but it's going to be just like so far back. Obviously, you don't want to have a flying lead like exploding and going everywhere from back there. So you're going to want to start your harness in the back, and you're going to want to do the same thing. You're going to have to sleeve your harness, put some heat shrink over, and then sleeve up to the heat shrink it with your little lead coming out, and then it's going to be a solid harness to the flying lead. So this right here is coming out of your firewall. All right, you got one wire that needs to come out, and say it needs to go to like, say it's like you got your ABS or whatever running through it, whatever. You got your ABS over there, all your engine sensors are over here. So you got your solid harness, but your flying lead doesn't happen until like way the hell down here. So what you're going to do is you're going to sleeve all the way to the ECU, and then you're going to sleeve right past where the lead's going to be, and then you're going to put heat shrink over it. Then you're going to sleeve up to the heat shrink, and you're going to put the heat shrink over, and your lead's going to be poking out of the heat shrink. And then you're going to heat shrink it, and then your lead's going to come off and then go to wherever it's going to go. And then you're going to pretend like that lead never happened, and you're going to heat shrink all the way to the end where your flying lead's going to be at, and then your flying lead's going to explode off the end of the harness. All this is going to make sense when we get to that point. So Now it's going to start to get a little bit tedious because each one of these is going to go to one side of your connector. If it's a 2-pin connector, this is just your sensor portion of the connector. You've still got your 12 volt or you've got your ground. So all these pink wire, all these purple wires, it's going to be obviously different for you guys. All these purple wires are my injectors. So these are my ground signals. The other wire is a 12 volt. Now, because you don't have a 12 volt in this, your 12 volt's going to come from a relay or an ignition switch or just something that's inside the cabin. You're going to want to you're going to have to add that in separately. So on a JZ, you've got a body connector, which will connect to the actual chassis harness that will deliver the 12 volt and everything into the actual harness itself. This isn't going to work if you don't have your 12 volts and stuff in there in your grounds. So all the grounds. So if you got your IAT is your actual, that's your metering wire. So this is what's going to meter your temperatures. But then the other wire is going to be how it regulates, and that's going to be your ground, and that's the ground that will go to your sensor ground. The sensor ground is going to be at the base of the harness like we were talking about just a little bit ago. So you're going to want to actually have your sensor grounds running from your sensors all the way back down to the base of your harness. This is what I was talking about if you guys watch part 1, where it's going to have to be a get up and sit down, a get up and sit down, because you're going to have to do this over and over again, and you're going to have to double, triple, quadruple check to make sure that everything is right, because you do not want to sleeve everything and it not be right, because then it sucks.